Welcome, foolish mortals. This was a video I didn't want to make. I knew I was going to make, but didn't know I was going to make it this early. This morning, one of my best friends I've known for 30 years lost his battle of cancer. I've known Lee Robinson for a long time. He was actually my manager when I worked at KB when I first started back in, I don't know, 93. It's been a long time. And he was a great guy. We hit it off right away. We collected a lot of the same things. He was a little older than me, so we still had some of the same memories about growing up. He's from North Dakota, a very small town in North Dakota, and so he understood kind of where I was coming from being from a farming background and moving around a lot and things like that. He When he left KB, he went over and started working at Target and at AMC. Um, he loved movies, and AMC was a perfect fit for him. And he worked at Target because he liked doing retail, but he needed something more flexible so he could work overnight, which KB didn't do. He came back and worked for us every Christmas. Don't know why he wanted three jobs. He was nuts. We continued to, hang out when we had time. I worked a lot. He worked a lot. Our friends worked a lot. And when he would hang out when we could go toy hunting. Back then, it wasn't toy hunting. It was just wandering around on a night. We'd all go to a Toys R Us and then Media Play and Tower and things that don't exist anymore. Lionel Play World and things like that. And he was a good guy. He started joining all of us when we went to the Starfest and StarCon conventions here in town, and we would have a great time getting autographs and meeting people and going to the dealers' rooms. This is hard. He was one of my best friends. He kind of became part of the family, really. Being alone in town, my mom always made sure to invite him to holidays so that he would have somewhere to be and not feel sad. And I know he appreciated it, and mom eventually slowly started thinking him as kind of a surrogate kid that she had to watch over. When he first was diagnosed with cancer a few years ago now, he pretty much decided that he didn't want to fight. He didn't really have anything here to fight for, he thought. Well, my mom put that to bed real quick. He had us and he had his other friends who would miss him when he was gone. And so he did. He did the chemo and he fought for a while, for a long while, for a hard while. But it just became too much. It spread, and eventually his doctors told him that there was going to have to be some radical things done. He didn't want to do those radical things. He was quite happy knowing that, he'd done his due, he'd done his time. And so earlier this year, he stopped the chemo. And of course, it didn't help. It made things move along faster. And he was told he'd have about 6 months or so to live. Well, he finally got to go back up to North Dakota to see his family again last week. And I'm so glad he did. He really wanted to do that, but COVID and everything else has kept him away from them for a while. And he loves them so much. So he went up to see them, but on the way back, he unfortunately got ill and ended up in a Wyoming hospital where he passed away this morning at 4 a.m. I called friends and let them know, and they've all been very supportive, and they're really sad. We all loved Lee. He was a curmudgeon, but he was a I don't know. We kind of in the end became Wardorf, Stanley and Wardorf, from the Muppets. We're both cranky guys, and uh, he was there when Mom died, and he wasn't with her. I found her, but he was there for me. He left work, and like a couple other friends, they came to the house before Mom was even gone, and were there with me. And he helped as much as he could with getting her stuff all together. It was more about getting his stuff out of her house than anything else. But he was there every step of the way, making sure I was okay. I appreciate that. I know the past few months have been really hard on him, and we haven't seen each other as much as we used to, simply because he would have appointments, and then when he did his appointments, it would be a couple days before he'd be well again in order to do anything. And I went by his work and told them, and you could, they were really broke up. Um, they really, really liked Lee. He'd been there for 20 years, really. And all those kids, there's one kid who kind of broke up a little bit. And that was real nice to see that, he really liked his job and he liked working there and they liked him. And that's what's important is, um, you know, what you leave behind. And what Lee leaves behind is good memories. He was a huge collector, um, actually worse than me. I will be in charge of separating his collection out. There's a store here in town that's probably going to buy the whole thing, but I'm going to have to go and pack it up. That'll be hard because this is what I did about this time last year for Mom. So this is really about Lee and how much he affected my life and how much he's been there for me to vent at and give counsel to me about things. And I'm going to miss him a lot. I don't really have anything else to say. Now I'm just rambling. So, Lee, we will miss you and we'll think about you a lot. And until next time, catch you guys on the flip side.